Hey guys, Thogden here, and welcome back to a new video. Now, me and my dad sat down over breakfast today and thought, what is the definition of an academy? It's the players, it's the youth, it's the facilities, the location, and all the money that goes into not just the first team, but everything surrounding the club. So what we're going to do is associate all of that and pick from 1st to 20th of which clubs have the best academy graduates and facilities, etc.
Going to be a good one. This has been a lot of debate on Twitter. Some of you are going to be very angry. It's going to be a tear-up, isn't there?
How many likes do you want today?
Oh, 10,000.
10,000? We're not hitting that though. We've got a new signing, Thogdad. I know we got Thogden, we got Thogdad, we got a third member now. It's new signing, it's Manscaped. How are we doing?
I tell you what, that is a lovely t-shirt. I want that for Thursday night.
But look, the lads over at Manscaped are lovely guys. They've sent us a little package. Now, inside this bag is 6 things that everybody needs in their life.
Oh, I'm intrigued. What's in your sack, Thea?
If you don't know what Manscaped is, it pretty much is a shaver. This is the Lawnmower 4.0. It's a shaver for your balls. Well, you smell good as well, because it comes with a ball deodorant as well.
I've got to mention the Weed Whacker. I talked about this a few months ago. I'm using it every day.
So that's for your ears and your nose, right?
Absolutely. You put it in your ears. It takes away those hairs there.
Hey, I wanted to use that.
Your nose.
What are you doing, you mug?
Mine, mate.
I wanted to use that.
Mine.
Get out of it.
It's kicking right off.
You also get a little ball toner. I'm going to give this as a gift for you, Thogdad.
Oh, that's so sweet.
What's your take on the crop mop, Thogdad?
I tell you what, you can't beat a bit of crop mop. Weed Whacker if you're my age. The lawnmower is brilliant. And
it comes with this. I mean, honestly, the whole package is excellent. Best thing about all this is you get a little discount code with thogden20. Listen, simple as that. Go into the link in the description, click it, use thogden20 on the screen now for 20% off your order. Get it in, up the TDL.
And the first team is Arsenal, Theo, Emil Smith-Rowe, Bukayo Saka. You've got Charlie Patino coming through.
Yeah.
This is a good academy, isn't it?
If we go back to 2013, it was a bit of a barren period until now because they had Hector Bellerin break into the scene. He looked really good when he first started playing. And then there really was no outstanding youthful talent. At the end of Wenger's era, the likes of Reece Nelson and Maitland-Niles and kind of even like one of the Willocks. I know this is kind of more Unai Emery time. What I'm trying to say is that no one outstanding. But all of a sudden, Bukayo Saka and Smith-Rowe turn up and they were incredible. And they still are today. They're both going to be regulars in the England team. And that in itself puts Hale End as one of the top academies in the Premier League.
Theo, I agree with you. Let's not forget Serge Gnabry. Now, Arsenal's mistake was they let him go too early and too cheaply, but there's some great players coming through at Arsenal. I'm ranking them 4th, Theo.
And let's go back a further bit. Cesc Fabregas too.
Yes.
Hero of their midfield. Absolutely brilliant player. Jack Wilshere. And the list goes on. I'm going to give Arsenal 2nd place in this video.
Wow, that's very generous, Theo.
Yeah, it is, but they've got 2 first-teamers that are from the academies, that are breaking through the scene right now. You can't really argue that about many other football clubs in the Premier League. So yeah, they deserve it. 2nd and 4th. You've got to love it. And this season, we've got to mention Charlie Patino, the wonder kid in that Arsenal side, breaking into the team, played against Forest, played against Sunderland and scored on his Arsenal debut. How incredible was that?
He looks like a right talent. Well done, Arsenal.
Yeah, and that just shows that even now, Arsenal are really starting to develop some kids. I'm looking forward to the future. Let's see what happens.
Aston Villa, and we've got to say the name Jack Grealish, because he was with them for a very long time, went for over 100 million quid. Jacob Ramsey, what a player there.
What a player, the Chukwuemeka brothers as well. And Louis Barry, who I met at Croydon Box Park for an England game. What a legend.
Is he a good lad there?
He is a good lad. Now, I know some of you will argue, well, he was at Barcelona for half his academy sort of time, so it's not fully Villa. They were part of it, the development of the players. We've named quite a few here. Jack Grealish, they sold on for bags of cash, so clearly their training ground is working. I've got them in 9th. I could have easily put them higher, though.
Theo, that's a little bit harsh. You know what? I've put them 6th, and I like the project that's going on at Aston Villa in terms of who they brought in terms of developing the youth, and of course, a great manager.
I'm excited to see what Steven Gerrard can do with the kind of academies now. There's going to be lots of new names over the next few years. It's a good time for Villa.
I tell you, I saw you on Sky Sports, Theo. You tipped Aston Villa as the team of 2022.
Yeah, I said they'd be the one to watch.
Yeah.
They're going to have exciting moments, especially with the gaffer. So let's see what has to come.
Brentford, this is very, very easy. At the end of the 2015-16 season, they closed their academy. Now, Matt Benham, our friend, the owner, did it for a reason. He thought it wasn't cost effective. So Brentford, 20th place.
It's funny, right? When you discuss the big clubs, having an academy is absolutely key.
Yeah.
But you go to the sort of lowest budget in the Premier League. I'm talking the Burnleys. I'm talking Watford, Newcastle, Brentford. Is it really worth having an academy? It's a very interesting question because the lower teams don't produce that many outstanding talents. Jack Grealish turns along a couple years later. They're in the Premier League thanks to him, partly, and they're selling him for 100 million. So you do sometimes will get a wonder kid.
Yes, I mean, the owners of Brentford and Southampton disagree on this one completely, but what Brentford thought, we don't get value for money.
What I'd like to ask the comments is, what's your take on Brentford not having an academy? Are they missing out on a wonder kid? Are they letting down English football by not producing and allowing them to have talent. They're just signing players. But comment down below, is it cost effective for one of the lower Premier League clubs to have an academy or not?
Brighton and Hove Albion, the first name that comes to mind is Ben White. Now, he came to the club age 16. Of course, he's gone on to Arsenal for loads of money. I'm also thinking Lewis Dunk, Robert Sanchez.
Some big
it's
names.
Not bad, is it, Theo?
Yeah, I've got to say, Ben White, that is a very cost-effective reason to have a training ground. They sold him for over £50 million to Arsenal, and he's also a really good player, and we might see him in an England shirt soon. I put Brighton in 12th, but I think I could have put him higher.
I tell you, it's another well-run club, isn't it? Tony Bloom's doing a great job there. 12th place there.
Tony Bloom, Moneyball style, similar to Brentford. Yeah, he's got an academy, and it's made him a lot of money. Who do you back, Bloom or Benham? Sanchez, I have to admit, he's an absolutely talented Premier League goalkeeper, quite underrated as well. They've got a man in there from the academy who they've he slipped into the first team. Then they realised he was unbelievable, and they've had him in there ever since.
Burnley now. Bloody Burnley from Lancashire, I think. Now, Dwight McNeil. He came from Man United age 14. He's a special player, isn't he?
Dad, do you know what I'd love Burnley to do? Just invest a lot of money into their training ground and academy. You know, I'm sure there's lots of up-and-coming talents that they bring from the Championship, like Brownhill. Like, half their squad is from the Championship at one point, right? Imagine they had a really top-quality academy. All the boys would learn so much under Sean Dyche. That gaffer is so good at man management that I genuinely believe Burnley would have so many talents that would actually break into the first team if they just spent a lot of money going forward into that academy. What do you reckon?
Theo, it's all about the money, isn't it? Now, imagine you're a kid, 13 years old from Lancashire. You can go to City, United, Liverpool, Everton. Why do you go to Burnley?
Well, this is the problem. They need to have some kind of attractiveness to their football club. And maybe that could be just going big on the training ground.
I'm not sure it's cost effective. You know what? I think Matt Benham's probably got the right idea at Brentford. It's sad for me to say that.
But I think Burnley could do so much with a training ground because they have the opportunity to give first team positions. Look at their squad right now, Dad. It's so thin without Cornet selling Chris Wood.
Theo, I've put Burnley 15th.
Stephen, I've put Burnley 16th.
Chelsea, and all you need to know here, Theo, is that they are the European champions, and they won that with 7 academy graduates from Cobham. So surely they've got to be one of the best academies in the country.
The question is, do they get top 3? Do they get the first place? Well, let's look at their talent. Cobham, for me, is one of the most exciting hubs for English talent, and not just English, everywhere. Armando Broja, Tarek Lamptey, Livramento. The first team is currently in their squad, like Mason Mount, Reece James, Chalobah, Hudson-Odoi.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. That place produces incredible levels. They win all the kind of youth setup leagues. Even players like Declan Rice that go under the shadow. They were in a Chelsea academy at one stage. I could go on. There's no one else in the Premier League where we mentioned so many players. Wonder kids. It's exciting to see.
It is amazing, but do they utilise the academy enough? Now, what I mean by that, Theo, they went out and bought Havertz, Werner, Ziyech. That's 150 million quid. Couldn't you have used the talent that you've just mentioned in the first team?
Well, they already used Mount, James, Chalobah, Hudson-Odoi. That's 4 that are regularly in the first team.
Declan Rice was allowed to escape.
Yeah.
Broja, Livramento, Gallagher. Are they too young, or will they be given a chance in the first team?
I wouldn't blame the academy for that. The academy's job is just to train the players and improve them as footballers, and they've proven that.
This is very, very simple. Chelsea have got the best academy in the country.
They do.
Full stop.
I completely agree. First place. There's no real discussion in this. If you honestly believe there's any other Premier League club with a better academy, tell us in the comments.
Crystal Palace now, I'm thinking left back Tyrick Mitchell. Now, Theo, he was poached from the Brentford Academy when it closed down.
Wow.
And you've also got to think of Wilfred Zaha in the past, Nathaniel Klein, Wan-Bissaka. It's pretty decent names there.
So do you think the Brentford owner Benham will be thinking, I closed down the academy and I lost Mitchell, who as a player has got the most tackles in the Premier League confirmed so far this season, which is outstanding. There's no argument that he is the kind of the new Wan-Bissaka, the one who gets stuck in, can put in a challenge. Crystal Palace has a good academy, I believe. So I put them in 17th, which is pretty low because now that I reassess it, I would have put them a little bit higher. Where have you got them?
Well, I put them 14th, and whilst we were talking, I'm thinking maybe I've been a bit harsh. Everton now, in the past we could have been talking about Ross Barkley and of course Wayne Rooney, but now we're talking about Tom Davis there.
Anthony Gordon.
Yeah,
he is a very good footballer and he's starting to break through the scene at the moment. So let's give that academy some credit. Whereabouts have you got them?
Do you know what? I've put them 18th because could do
18th?
better. I tell you what, there's a huge amount of great talent coming from Merseyside, coming from the city of Liverpool, but there's not enough coming through at Everton. And I think most fans would agree investment is needed in the academy.
There are some serious talents in that Everton training ground, and I think if they genuinely invest some more money into the youth teams, You know, they're putting a lot into the stadium. If they spread that out around the rest of the club, I think Everton need to start looking ahead into the future, especially with the state of their current situation with manager in the first team. Start investing in the youth, and I think over the next few years, they'll gradually return to where they belong to be.
And I hope they do, Theo. Leeds United, I'll tell you what, this year they've really used their youth. 8 teenagers have played for Leeds United in the Premier League this season.
Joe Geldhart, I know they signed him from Wigan, but they're developing him, you know, through the academy, breaking through the scene in the training ground. He's going to be a top player.
He is, Theo. I've not counted him because he came from Wigan, like you said. But all I can say with Leeds, they're not going down. And those youth players, those young lads have done really, really well. But are any of them really stand out?
Well, first of all, I'd like to see Bielsa give the youth a chance. You see the bench a lot. You've got Archie Gray.
Yes.
He's, 16? And he's on the bench for Leeds already. Apparently, he's to be the next big thing. And I'm excited to see what that Leeds academy is developing, even when you've got a 16-year-old on the bench.
Yeah, he is the grandson of Frank Gray, isn't he? We met him the other day. But I tell you what, Leeds 11th place. Again, I think the owners could put more money into that system. Frank Gray, next time I see you, let's go for a beer. Leicester now. The first name I think of is Ben Chilwell. He's gone to Chelsea. He was developed at Leicester. Harvey Barnes. Who else there? Some good players.
Well, the training ground at Leicester, the facilities are incredible.
Yeah.
They recently developed it, and it honestly could be the best one in the Premier League. The amount of youth we're going to see break through that Leicester team in the next few years is going to be incredible.
Shrewsbury Hall. There's some good names coming through.
Yeah, I think you've already mentioned, but yeah, Dewsbury Hall, that's our boy. He's my mate. It's great to see him in the first team, and it's nice to see Brendan Rodgers give some of the youth game time. Leicester deserve to be up there. I put them 7th. I think I could have put them top 6.
I agree, Theo. Great owners, great investment in youth. 7th place. Liverpool back in the day. Jamie Carragher, Michael Owen, Stevie G.
But that's
what
back
about
in the
today,
day.
Theo?
They've got Trent and they've got Curtis Jones. They've got 2 in the squad. And that in itself makes me put them in 5th place because they've had Trent since he was like 4 or 5 years old. The player they've developed him into, probably the best right back in the world. That is a Liverpool training ground masterclass. Curtis Jones has been excelling since Salah and Mane have been at the team as well. I think he can play in so many different positions, versatile. Tyler Morton, AC Milan away, plays central midfield for Liverpool and drops a masterclass. You've got to rate that.
Absolutely. What about Raheem Sterling? He's not there anymore, but he was developed by Liverpool. Harvey Elliott, now I know he came from Fulham, but he was developed a lot at Liverpool.
Yeah, if we're going to players that don't play for them anymore, Connor Cody, Peter Gulaski, crazy that I've just named them 2 in the same sentence, but that's what the Liverpool training ground does. 5th place.
5th place as well. Manchester City now, they have excellent facilities and there's one name on everybody's lips. That, of course, is James Trafford.
Not Phil Foden, Thogden.
Oh, Phil Foden as well, Jadon Sancho, but mainly James Trafford of Bolton Wanderers.
What a legend, the twin. Hey, I really hope he's in a City shirt in a few years. I genuinely believe he will.
I tell you what, I've played on that training ground, but the academy there is going to bear fruit over the coming years. Cole Palmer, he's a decent player, isn't he? He's a prospect. But I tell you what, overall, Manchester City, 3rd place.
Yeah, I'm going to give them 3rd as well. And I think everyone just says, oh, they've only got Foden, that's the only kid. But no. They've played 10 teenagers from the academy in the first team this season. 10 debutants. We've already mentioned a few. Cole Palmer, Prem soon come, and the other lads. They've got talent there, don't they?
Theo, if you were Pep Guardiola, would you be buying in players for 50 million or would you give youth a chance?
I'd say mix it up. I think the likes of Jadon Sancho, Daniel Sturridge and Angelino all came from the City Academy. They're all playing for their different clubs respectively and smashing it. Well done to the City Academy on 3rd place.
Manchester United now, and since 1937, every single game they've played, they've had an academy player in the squad. That is absolutely amazing. Now, if you're my age, you think of the class of 1992. These days, Mason Greenwood, Marcus Rashford, Scott McTominay, Jesse Lingard,
Paul Pogba.
Pogba, of course, yeah.
How do you forget that? That's like 5 in the first team already.
It's amazing.
People don't really look at one name when it comes to Manchester United Academy. Since the class of 92, it's been very hard to kind of top that in terms of English Academy graduates, represent and help Manchester United go to win a Premier League because they haven't won a Premier League recently. Hopefully, we'll start to see more development from players, but Zidane Iqbal, Ted Menji, Garner, Charlie Savage,
Twanzebe, some good players coming through.
Wonder Kid. There's a lot of names we're hearing floating about now, and that is what the Manchester United Carrington does.
The culture of Manchester United is all about encouraging youth. They learnt that in 1992, if not before with the Busby Babes, of course. Manchester United, 2nd place.
I've got them 4th, but now we go through the names. Maybe I should have put them up a bit higher. I know we've said a lot of names, but I want to mention one key player because it's trending at the moment. Hannibal in the academy. He hasn't played for Manchester United yet, but he plays for Tunisia like every week. He smashed it at the Arab Cup. They got to a final. Now he's smashing it in AFCON. I think they just knocked out Nigeria. and he's playing a big role in that first team. So I think he's got a massive future at Manchester United.
Newcastle United back in the day, we're talking about Gaza, Paul Gascoigne, Andy Carroll, but these days we're talking about the Longstaff brothers there.
Sort of. I think Newcastle, honestly, need to invest a lot of money into the training ground facilities. They've got the new Saudi owners, they've got the money there. Instead of just splashing it on players like Trippier and others, actually invest in the academy ranks.
Yes.
Make it the best facilities in the world. Make it the most attractive move. If you're an 18-year-old, you want to go to Newcastle. You're living the best life. You could develop as a player. You're focused on the football, because Newcastle can do that now.
I totally agree, Theo, and a lot of Newcastle fans agree with us. We were there yesterday, weren't we, shooting a video, and I tell you what, there was a dire need of investment in the academy facilities. So at the moment, could do much better, 17th.
We were in Gateshead, Dog Dad. You've just annoyed every Gateshead fan out there.
We were in Newcastle for a beer afterwards. You weren't. You went straight to Durham.
I went to Durham. Durham, by the way, is such a lovely place. If you live in Durham, I am jealous of you.
Norwich City. Well, I would be talking about Todd Cantwell 2 years ago, but he's gone off the boil a bit.
Yeah.
But Max Aarons is there. Edar's coming through. And I know he came from Corinthians, but he went through the system, didn't he?
Yeah, he came from Corinthians, but he is an outstanding talent. I think we may see a good generation of new Irish players breaking through the scene. One of them, as you mentioned, Adam Eder. We've got to speak about Max Aarons, Jamal Lewis. They made some good money off selling Lewis. They've still got Aarons. I think it's worth it having an academy for Norwich.
I tell you what, Norwich, they've got a big catchment area. Norfolk is a big place. You've only got Norwich and Ipswich in that part of the country. So for some reason, I think they're doing things right.
They've got a really good training ground for the teams in a second half size of the Premier League.
I'm going 13th place.
I'm going 13th as well.
Southampton now. We've got to talk about Alan Shearer, Gareth Bale, Matt Letizia, Theo Walcott. Over the years, Southampton's academy has been superb there.
And then they had tough ownership situation, which has recently been recovered. I think the training ground could do with a lot more facility investment and improvements, and hopefully we'll get to see that. So hopefully they can get back to their best, because Southampton, historically, one of the best academies out there.
Absolutely. We got to talk about James Ward-Prowse, though. He's one of our favourite players, the best free kick taker in Europe, according to me.
He's so good. So they've clearly taught him well there on the training ground. I'm putting them in 8th place.
You know, I am as well. Southampton have got a big catchment area to take young players from. 8th place, Tottenham Hotspur. Now, and the first name you've got to mention is Harry Kane, of course. We're thinking Skip and Winks and Tanganga.
Yeah.
Some good names there, Thea.
Some good names. It looks like Kane will eventually move on, and they'll make, 100+ million on him?
They will, Thea.
And when they do, it just proves that that training ground it's done its job.
But there's been a lot of debate on Twitter, Arsenal against Tottenham. I've got to admit the Arsenal Academy has done better in recent years.
Overall, yes, Saka, Smith Rowe, and you can't really compare that with the likes of Oliver, Skip, Tanganga. It's not on the same level.
But Tottenham spent so much money on that stadium, £1 billion, that will they really invest more money in the academy? I don't know the answer to that. I'm saying 9th. Could do better.
I'm putting them in 6th. I put them higher because Harry Kane itself carries. So let's see what they do in the future.
Watford in the past, you had David James. I met him the other day. What a legend he is. We're talking about John Barnes back in the day. But these days, there's no one really coming through. I can't think of anyone.
No. They do buy a lot of players from the Serie A because they have that Italian ownership deal and they've got some kind of brother club in Serie A. But they don't really bring too many players from the academy ranks and put them into the first team. So hopefully Watford can do more of that in the next few years. I'm putting them 18th for now.
19th, West Ham United, Declan Rice. I'll talk about him. They poached him early from Chelsea, but they got him early. They got him when he was 16. What a loss that was for Chelsea looking back. Ben Johnson, a young lad coming through.
But there aren't many others.
There aren't, are there?
They do sign a lot of talents. They know when they've got an eye for a player that will smash it in a Hammers shirt.
Yes.
Dapo Afolayan, he's probably one of their best recent talents. He's playing for Bolton, smashing it.
He's a wonderful player. But you know what? Overall, 10th place.
Yeah, I'll give them 14th. I could have put him lower, but Mark Noble saved their bacon, really. He's been playing in the academy and he's a one-club player, isn't he? So, smashing it.
What a loyal fella he is. Big shout out to Mark Noble. And Wolverhampton Wanderers, finally, they seem to rely on foreign imports, mainly Portuguese.
They do. Morgan Gibbs-White is one to look out for, doing well in a Sheffield United shirt, kind of in a 10 or a winger sort of position. Maybe he can come to the Wolves team and try and break through, but it's going to be difficult because their team's getting better and better. They're breaking into the top 5 at the moment, aren't they?
Absolutely. They spent 35 million on that Silva lad. Why couldn't you have put that into youth at Wolverhampton Wanderers? You know, overall,
Wolves are one of those clubs that probably don't even need an academy because the way they're running with the Portuguese talent and signings that they make, why do they need an academy?
That is true, Theo. I'm going to say 16th place.
They're the most on-form team in the Premier League. They need to be spoken about more. Their recruitment team deserves a pay rise. Their academy, not very good. 15th.
All right, Theo. I'm going off now to put some deodorant on my balls. See ya.
What a mug.